Imagine a young man, quiet, simple, and deeply devoted to his family. Someone who is ready to sacrifice everything for the happiness of his loved ones. A man whose life suddenly took a drastic turn, all because of a marriage proposal. After the wedding, he went on a honeymoon trip to the hills, where a beautiful new chapter of love was supposed to begin. But who knew that right there, on the slope of that mountain, a deadly trap had already been laid just for him. The woman he chose as his life partner turned out to be the architect of his death. In the dense jungles of Meghalaya, near the edge of a waterfall, a gruesome murder took place, one that was born from a vile conspiracy, cold-blooded planning, and a horrifying love story. This wasn't just a murder, it was the ultimate betrayal. Hello everyone, I'm Shri, and today we're going to uncover the brutal tale of the Raja Raghuvanshi honeymoon murder case. This chilling case not only claimed a life, but also shook the very conscience of our society. 29-year-old Raja Raghuvanshi was a resident of Nagar in Indore. He was the youngest child in the family and had two elder brothers, Sachin and Bipin, both of whom were married. He managed the family business, Raghuvanshi Travels. This business was started in 2007, and they provided buses and cars on rent to business schools and coaching centers. Raja was a very responsible and deeply devoted son. He always tried to keep his family happy. He listened to his parents attentively, and so, when they told him that they had chosen a girl for him, Raja agreed to the proposal. Raja first came to know Sonam through a matrimonial directory, a traditional matchmaking booklet, much like the marriage ads found in newspapers or modern-day matrimonial websites. These directories are typically used by families to find suitable partners for their children, usually within the same caste, clan, and cultural background. On October 1st, 2024, through a matrimonial booklet called Samaj Parichai, the families of Raja and Sonam saw each other's profiles and felt that this could be a suitable match. Just as Raja was involved in his family's business, Sonam too handled the accounts and billing for her father's plywood business. Both families were financially stable and belonged to the same community. In an interview, Raja's mother had said that since Sonam's family also upheld traditions and values similar to theirs, she believed Sonam would be the right match for her son. Once both families gave their consent, Raja and Sonam started communicating through phone calls and messages. Since it wasn't a love marriage, this was their best way to get to know each other. However, within a few days, Raja began to notice that Sonam didn't seem very interested while speaking with him. Every time he messaged her, she would reply with very short answers and rarely asked anything herself. Often, it would take her hours, or even an entire day to respond. This behavior started to make Raja feel uneasy. One day, he told his mother that perhaps Sonam wasn't truly serious about the relationship. His mother later admitted that she too had concerns. If Sonam wasn't willing to spend time with him now, how would the relationship work after marriage? She even questioned why her son should waste time talking to someone who didn't even care to know him. At that point, his mother explained that perhaps the girl was simply shy, and it was Raja's responsibility to take the initiative and build a comfortable friendship. Encouraged by this, Raja decided that meeting up in person occasionally, like on a coffee date or a movie outing, might help ease Sonam's discomfort. However, Sonam's family strongly opposed the idea. They were quite conservative and firmly stated that the girls in their family did not engage in such outings. In this situation, Raja's mother herself called Sonam and gently said, "If you don't give my son your time, he will feel hurt. He wants to get to know his future wife and spend a little time with her. If you talk to him a little more, it will make him happy." After that conversation, there was a noticeable change in Sonam's behavior, and she herself began initiating conversations with Raja. On May 11th, 2025, Raja and Sonam got married in a joyful, celebratory evening filled with happiness and excitement. Surrounded by family, relatives, and friends, the occasion overflowed with laughter, blessings, and warm wishes. But no one could have imagined that just days after this auspicious moment, a terrifying incident would take place, one that would change everything. After the wedding, Sonam moved into Raja's home. Though she hadn't been very open with Raja before the marriage, within just 7 days she suddenly began insisting on going for a honeymoon. Raja, however, wasn't very enthusiastic about the idea. He felt that instead of rushing off on a trip, it would be better for Sonam to spend some time adjusting with the family, and for the family to also bond with the new bride. But Sonam kept pressing the matter. Eventually, she went ahead and booked tickets to Meghalaya on her own, without even informing Raja. Raja was a bit taken aback by this. He couldn't understand why she was in such a hurry. When he told his mother about it, she said, "Well, the tickets are already booked. Go ahead and enjoy the trip." She also mentioned that Sonam hadn't booked return tickets yet, but they were planning to come back in about a week. It wasn't just about visiting Meghalaya. Sonam also informed Raja's mother that they would be visiting the Kamakhya Devi temple in Guwahati for a puja. Hearing this, her mother-in-law was pleased. She thought it was a good sign that her daughter-in-law wasn't just focused on sightseeing, but also cared about spiritual matters. On May 20th, just 9 days after the wedding, the couple left Indore for Meghalaya. At the airport, Raja spoke to his mother over a video call. During the call, his mother noticed he was wearing a heavy gold chain. Concerned, she advised him not to travel with such valuable jewelry, especially in uncertain times. Raja then explained that it wasn't his idea. Sonam had insisted he wear it. Not wanting to start an unnecessary argument, he had agreed. On May 22nd, they reached Malanong village, located near Cherrapunji. From there, they planned to visit Nongrayat, which is known for its famous living root bridges, natural bridges formed by interwoven roots of trees. Over time, these become so strong that people can walk across rivers on them with ease. During this trek, Raja again called his mother. The call was recorded. At that time, Sonam mentioned that she was fasting. Her mother-in-law advised her to at least eat some dry fruits since they were doing so much walking, fasting, and hiking could lead to health issues. But Sonam responded, "Just because I'm on a trip doesn't mean I'll break my fast." In the end, Raja's mother asked them to take lots of pictures of waterfalls, hills, nature, and to share them with the family. On May 23rd, the following morning, Raja and Sonam checked out from the Shipper guest house and set off toward Cherrapunji. They rented a scooter and began their journey around 5:30 a.m. At around 10 a.m., they met a local tour guide who saw them exploring the area along with 3 other individuals. But after that encounter, none of their family members were able to reach them. At first, the families assumed that the couple was traveling through the hilly regions of Meghalaya, where network issues are common, and that might be the reason for the communication gap. However, as time passed and no messages came from Raja, his family grew increasingly worried. Despite repeatedly trying to get in touch with him, they received no response, and their concern deepened. As a result, the families went to the police and filed a missing person report. After initial investigation, it was discovered that the scooter rented by Raja and Sonam was found abandoned outside a cafe in Shillong. When this news spread, Sonam's brother, Govind Singh, and Raja's elder brother, Sachin Raghuvanshi, rushed to Meghalaya. Upon reaching, they too filed a missing report and informed the police of everything. That's when Meghalaya police officially began the search operation for Raja and Sonam. At that time, Meghalaya was experiencing heavy rainfall, but despite the weather, the police and rescue teams did not delay the search. The National Disaster Response Force, NDRF, State Disaster Response Force, SDRF, Meghalaya Police's Special Operations Team, and local volunteers actively participated in the rescue operation. Then came the terrifying truth, something no one in either family was prepared for. 10 days later, on June 2nd, Raja's body was found in a 100-foot deep gorge between Wei Sadong waterfalls and the Sora Rim forest. Due to the rain, the body had decomposed significantly, but his smartwatch helped confirm his identity. The news sent shockwaves of grief through Raja's entire family. Even after all this, the family clung to one last hope, that Sonam would be found alive. Having already lost one member of the family, they couldn't bear the thought of losing another. In recent days, there had been reports in the news about incidents in Meghalaya, warning that tourists might not be safe and that scary situations could arise even during simple sightseeing trips. But it all began with the mysterious disappearance of Raja and Sonam. And once Raja's body was recovered, with no trace of Sonam, the fear deepened even further. In an interview filled with anger and grief, Raja's other brother, Bipin, said, "I've heard about many gangs in Shillong who kill the male member of a couple and then abduct the woman for human trafficking." Meghalaya is a popular tourist destination, so such serious allegations spreading could be extremely damaging for the region's reputation. To control the situation, both Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad K. Sangama and Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Mohan Yadav intervened personally. However, their efforts did not yield any significant results. We initially learned that when Raja left his home for Meghalaya, he was wearing a heavy gold chain around his neck. But he was also carrying a few gold rings. In total, jewelry worth nearly 10 Indian rupees lakhs, 1 million Indian rupees. However, none of these valuables were ever recovered. Several newspapers reported that local miscreants in Meghalaya might have killed Raja to loot his gold and possibly attacked and kidnapped his wife, Sonam. In this situation, Raja's family demanded a CBI investigation. After Raja's body was recovered, police continued searching the surrounding areas. During this extended search near the waterfalls, they discovered several items: a white t-shirt belonging to Sonam, a strip of pantoprazole 40, a stomach medicine, and a broken LCD screen from a Vivo phone. At quite a distance from Raja's body, they also found a blood-stained sharp weapon and a bloodied raincoat. The raincoat appeared to be newly purchased, indicating it may have been bought specifically for the crime. The weapon recovered was also not a traditional local weapon from Meghalaya. This gave the police a significant lead, and they realized Raja was not killed by a local resident of Meghalaya. Then, a breakthrough came from an eyewitness, the local guide who had earlier seen Raja and Sonam with 3 other individuals. Further investigation revealed the identities of those 3 people: Akash Rajput, Vishal Chauhan, Anand Kurmi. That morning, the local guide noticed Raja and Sonam wandering around with 3 unfamiliar individuals. Since all of them were speaking in Hindi, the guide couldn't understand their conversation. Later, when the police identified those 3 men, suspicion around them deepened significantly. The police suspected that these 3 individuals might have murdered Raja and abducted Sonam. While Raja's family remained devastated, drowning in grief and fear, a sudden twist occurred. On the night of June 9th, around 1:30 a.m., the family received a phone call. On the other end was Sonam Raghuvanshi herself. She informed them that she was calling from a place called Kashi Daba in the Ghazipur district of Uttar Pradesh. She had no phone of her own and had borrowed a device from someone at the Daba to make this call. Later, in an interview, one of the Daba workers said that Sonam arrived there around 1 a.m., crying. She told them, "My phone has been stolen. Please help me." The workers gave her shelter and allowed her to use one of their phones. Shortly after making the phone call, Sonam sat in a corner and began to cry. The staff at the Daba asked her if everything was all right. Sonam then revealed that she had just recently gotten married and had gone on a honeymoon with her husband. But midway through the trip, some miscreants attacked them, snatched the gold chain from Raja's neck, and when Raja tried to protect her, they killed him. But soon, questions began to arise. If she had gone to Meghalaya for the honeymoon, how did she end up in Ghazipur, Uttar Pradesh? Where had she been all these days? And why didn't she mention Raja's death right away when calling the family? Since Sonam was crying continuously on the phone, her family didn't press her with questions at that moment. Later, her brother Govind spoke with the Daba worker and requested him to report the matter to the local police station. When the police finally found Sonam, they assumed she would be the key eyewitness in the case and would help them move the investigation forward. They hoped she would be able to identify the killers. However, many people were still puzzled. If she had really been kidnapped, why would the abductors bring her all the way from Meghalaya to Ghazipur and then let her go? At 2:30 a.m., the Ghazipur police arrived at Kashi Daba, rescued Sonam and took her to a medical college for a health checkup. By 6:30 a.m., Meghalaya police had also reached the location. After that, Sonam was taken back to Meghalaya for interrogation. But from this point onward, the entire narrative began to shift. Sonam began refusing to cooperate with the police during interrogation. She wasn't giving any clear answers, and when she did respond, her replies were vague and inconsistent. As a result, suspicion around her began to intensify. But after several hours of intense questioning, Sonam Raghuvanshi finally confessed to the police. She had orchestrated her own husband's murder. She admitted that before marriage, she had been in love with a man named Raj Kushwaha, and because of that relationship, she had hired contract killers to get Raja murdered. Sonam further revealed that she had given Raj Kushwaha 50,000 Indian rupees to arrange the trip to Meghalaya, along with 3 others, Vishal Singh, Anand Kurmi, and Akash Rajput. These were the 3 men the local guide had earlier seen with Raja and Sonam. After this horrifying confession, the police checked Sonam's call records and confirmed that everything she had said matched the evidence. Following this, the police arrested all 4 individuals involved. But the story didn't end there. Sonam's father publicly claimed that the Meghalaya police were falsely accusing his daughter. He demanded a CBI investigation to uncover the real truth. However, in a later press conference, Sonam's own brother, Govind, admitted the truth. He said, "Yes, Sonam is guilty of this horrific crime, and we never want to see her face again." He also shared that Raja was like a younger brother to him, one of the people he loved the most. He personally went to Raja's home to apologize to the grieving family. But the question still remained: who was Raj Kushwaha, for whom Sonam brutally had her own husband murdered? The investigation revealed that Sonam had met Raj Kushwaha about 2 to 3 years ago. At that time, Raj was working in the billing department of Sonam's father's plywood factory, and he lived very close to Sonam's house. Gradually, the two developed a relationship and eventually fell in love. The investigation also revealed that Sonam's family was fully aware of this relationship. Sonam had clearly told her family that she wanted to marry Raj Kushwaha and build a life with him. But the biggest obstacle was caste. Raj belonged to a different caste, was financially weaker, and was also younger than Sonam. Bipin Raghuvanshi, Raj's elder brother, conducted his own inquiries and discovered that Sonam's family had strongly opposed the relationship. In particular, Sonam's mother was adamantly against an inter-caste marriage. They had made it clear that they would never allow Sonam to marry Raj Kushwaha under any circumstances. But the most shocking revelation came when it was discovered that even before the wedding, Sonam had warned her mother, saying, "If anything happens in this marriage with Raja, I won't be responsible. You're the ones forcing me into it." And that raises a big question. Was Sonam innocent? The answer in one word is no. Absolutely not. Sonam was an educated, independent woman. If she truly loved Raj Kushwaha, she could have chosen to run away with him, build a life on her own terms, and take control of her future. But she didn't, because she knew the consequences. She knew that if she eloped, her parents would disown her, and she would lose her family, property, and inheritance. And that's exactly why, when the marriage with Raja Raghuvanshi was arranged, she didn't object. Instead, it was from that very moment that her horrific plan began to take shape. From that day on, she and Raj Kushwaha began plotting how to eliminate Raja from this world. The investigation even revealed that their initial plan was to stage a scene where it would appear that Sonam had died too, a move designed to completely mislead both families and the police. Their original plan was to kill an unknown woman, burn the body beyond recognition, and pass it off as Sonam's corpse. But later, they abandoned that idea and came up with another, even more calculated and effective plan. When police checked their call logs, they found that just 5 days after the wedding, on the night of May 16th, from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m., Sonam and Raj Kushwaha spoke on the phone for 6 straight hours. Investigators believe that this call was when the entire murder was planned. At the time, Sonam was still staying at Raj's home. Following that, Raj Kushwaha met the 3 hired killers, Vishal Singh, Akash Rajput, and Anand Kurmi at a cafe in Indore and laid out the full details of the plan. He gave them a secondary mobile phone to use for communication with Sonam and even paid for their travel and food expenses. With all instructions in hand, the three men left for Meghalaya. And from that moment on, the countdown to the horrific tragedy had begun. When Sonam arrived in Meghalaya with Raja, she was secretly communicating with the three men using a different SIM card. No one outside suspected a thing. But beneath the surface, a chilling conspiracy was unfolding. One that would soon lead to the brutal, untimely death of an innocent and dutiful man, Raja Raghuvanshi. When Raja Raghuvanshi first encountered the three men on the trail, they pretended to be tourists from Indore, just like him. They told him they didn't need a guide, that they could explore on their own. In this way, they camouflaged themselves perfectly, appearing to be just regular travelers. Later, when Sonam and Raja left for Way Sadong waterfall, the three men, Akash, Vishal, and Anand, were already lying in wait at the location. According to the investigation, at one point, the men even asked Sonam, "Do you really want to go through with this?" And Sonam, without hesitation, said, "Yes, this is exactly what I want." Immediately afterward, the three men launched a sudden, violent attack on Raja. And what's even more horrifying, Sonam witnessed the entire incident. As per the killer's confession, during the attack, Sonam even encouraged them, shouting, "Kill him! Finish him off!" Just hearing this makes the heart go numb. Raja Raghuvanshi, who had brought Sonam into his home as his wife just a few days earlier, who had followed her to Meghalaya on a honeymoon she had planned, he had no idea he was walking into a trap laid by the very woman he loved. Just imagining the way Raja must have died, the pain, the betrayal, it's chilling. After murdering Raja, the killers removed all his gold jewelry from his body. Then, they threw his body into the waterfall, hoping it would look like a robbery gone wrong. They wanted the blame to fall on unknown criminals so that Sonam would appear innocent and untouched, as though she were a helpless victim too. And yes, for a while, that plan actually worked. Everyone initially believed that Raja had probably been killed by robbers and that Sonam had been kidnapped. But what happened next was more dramatic than any film. After the murder, Sonam booked a cab from Shillong to Guwahati. From there, she took a train back to Indore. Once in Indore, she checked into a hotel, a room that Raj Kushwaha had already booked for her in advance. After staying there for a bit, she went to Fatehpur and began living in Raj Kushwaha's flat. After spending a few days there, on June 9th, she showed up at the Kashi Dhaba in Ghazipur, Uttar Pradesh, from where she made that now infamous phone call to her family. Until she was caught, Sonam tried her best to portray herself as completely innocent, a helpless victim. She kept dodging police questions, constantly playing the victim card. But the police were not fooled. They paid attention to her eyes, her expressions, noting when she avoided answering directly and when she changed the subject. With each inconsistent reply, their suspicion grew stronger. And finally, under mounting pressure, Sonam broke down and confessed. She admitted, "Yes, I was the mastermind behind all of this." She revealed that she and her lover Raj Kushwaha had jointly plotted this cold-blooded murder. There was a time when, after marriage, women silently endured unspeakable mental and physical abuse. Society suppressed their voices, and even dreaming of justice felt like a sin. But times have changed. Today, women at least have the courage to reach the doorsteps of the law and demand justice. But what happens when a man faces the same kind of betrayal, abuse, or physical violence? For him, there are no specific laws, no promises of empathy. Society sees him only as a man, as if his feelings, his vulnerabilities, his tears are all a source of shame. In today's case, we've witnessed how a person, in return for his trust and love, received betrayal and death. And this leaves us with one question for our society. Do we truly believe in progress? Then why do we still mock men's pain? A truly progressive society will emerge only when we speak of safety, dignity, and justice for both women and men. Only then can we move forward towards a balanced and just future. And finally, we must say, a crime is a crime, no matter who commits it. Let it be judged as such. Thank you for studying this case with me today. What are your thoughts on this incident? Let me know in the comments. I'll be back soon with another important case to discuss with you.